1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Mental Reps Podcast.
Say hello to my little friend, Brian Wright and Mental Reps Podcast. Come on, get there!
Featuring your host, Brian Wright.
Hey, this is comedian Brett Ernst, and you're listening to Mental Reps with Brian Wright. And remember, people, always keep your head on a swivel.
Our guest this episode is comedian and actor Paul Mecurio.
Hey guys, it's Esther Koo, and you're listening to Brian Wright's Mental Reps Podcast. Keep your head on a swivel, kids.
This week's episode is sponsored by The Field Irish Pub and Eatery, a little piece of island in South Florida.
Hey, I'm Ron McGill, Goodwill Ambassador here at Zoo Miami on the Mental Reps Podcast with Brian Wright. Keep your head on a swivel, baby.
Now fade out that fresh as beat, and let's get this bitch on the road.
Welcome to Mental Reps Podcast. I'm Brian Wright. What is up, fam? I hope you are happy and healthy. Really appreciate you listening in, and thanks so much for the likes, comments, all the shares, subscribes, notifications. It really does make a huge difference, so thanks again for the support. Really, really appreciate it. And even if you aren't all about sharing on your pages, DM a friend you think might like it. We're on all the social medias, all the streaming platforms, at Mental Reps Pod on the gram, at Mental Reps Show on Twitter. Just search Mental Reps Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, all the podcast platforms. You can also email the show at mentalrepspodcast@gmail.com. Once again, proud to represent our sponsors. Another week, The Field Irish Pub and Eatery, South Florida's authentic Irish pub. This is not some half-assed pub with a bunch of green decorations, leprechauns on the wall. It's the kind of pub you'd find on the countryside of Dublin. Many of the people who work there are from Ireland themselves, owned and operated by like really good human beings. They work really hard to try and do right by you. As I always say, the Guinness tastes like a freaking milkshake. It's just the best I've ever tasted. Full bars, so the Irish car bombs and the Jameson are flowing. But you can't forget about their legit as all hell Irish American cuisine. Shepherd's pie, Irish stew, the Irish dip sandwich is a game changer, I always say. And they also have steaks, fresh seafood, salads, something for the whole crew. And of course, you know they're vibing out with that live music 5 nights a week. Real Irish music Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So please go stop by The Field and tell them we sent you. It's at 3281 Griffin Road, Fort Lauderdale. 954-964-5979 is the number. And if you aren't feeling up to going out yet, but still want that authentic Irish experience, just go to thefieldfl.com and enter REPS20 for 20% off your entire order. And they've got like mason jars and growlers, so you can grab some booze to go as well. It's pretty sweet. So go get with the showgram. Hit them up. And remember, go to thefieldfl.com, enter code word REPS20 for 20% off your entire online order. This episode, I'm joined by a comedian and actor who sold his first joke to Jay Leno for $50 back in the day. And the rest, as they say, is history. Emmys, Peabodys, he wrote for The Daily Show. He now tours as a headlining comedian all over the country. He's the warm-up comic for The Late Show with his good buddy Stephen Colbert. He's also got his own self-titled podcast. He's performing live this weekend, June 18th through 20th at Improv Comedy Club in West Palm Beach. Get your tickets now at palmbeachimprov.com. I'm very sorry for the poor audio quality on this podcast. It was an issue with the audio input on Zoom, which we normally don't record on, but it has been noted in the future. Won't happen again. Try to clean it up the best I can for you. So I hope you enjoy my chat with the very funny Paul Mecurio. Welcome to Mental Reps Podcast. I'm Brian Wright, joined today by comedian, actor, and overall good dude who's performing live this weekend, June 18th through 20th at Improv Comedy Club in West Palm Beach. Get your tickets now at palmbeachimprov.com. It's Paul Mecurio. How's it going, dude?
I'm doing all right, brother. Good to see you again, although I wish I could be in person with you, but at that bar, pounding some shots, but you know.
I know, right? Yeah, The Field, my new spot here. Well, I've been going to The Field for like 20 years, but yeah, man, it's been pretty crazy. You're in New York City, which has been the biggest hotspot for the virus in the U.S. How are you holding up in the in the time of
Oh,
Rona
it's
and the Big
great.
Apple.
Oh, yeah, it's great. New York City. Yeah. Come for the COVID, stay for the looting. I don't know. Jesus Christ. This is like, did you think, I mean, this George Floyd thing, horrible, but like, it's like a shit sandwich. Then let's just put a little bit more, shit and diarrhea on the sandwich. I mean, the whole city's been weird. It's still, I mean, that was the most activity literally in like 2 or 3 months to protesting, and good for them for protesting. But like, it's been weird, eerily quiet. It's like the closest thing I can liken it to is like when there's a blizzard in New York and everything shuts down and it's quiet and it's peaceful. It's like, feels like the 1800s. It's great, except it's every day, no snow, and people wearing masks. So it's like, like you feel like you walked out of a bunker and you're like one of 6 people in the Twilight Zone episode that's alive after like an alien came and did a giant fart on the planet and killed everything. And then like you bitch that it's so noisy in the city, and then all you'd hear, it just went from crazy city noise, whatever, normal day-to-day life, to super quiet, and all you heard was sirens a lot, especially back end of March, April. And it just like, I can remember lying in bed one night and I was saying to my wife, like, I feel like I'm sleeping in the country. Like, you didn't hear anything. It was so. And then like everybody, you want things to get back to normal. So like, I don't know, like a few weeks into this, it was so quiet in the city, just so I could feel like things were normal. I went to Home Depot and I bought a jackhammer, and I just started jackhammering around New York City just at 7:00 in the morning, just to make the noise. So I feel like,
I got a bone to pick with you though. I saw on your Twitter recently, because, I follow you on, which I suggest anybody do, Twitter, YouTube. You got some really good, funny stuff on there, Instagram. But I saw a video with you wearing a New England Patriots face mask on. What do you have to say for yourself about that? You're coming to South Florida and you post a video of yourself with a Patriots mask on.
It's not like I'm trying to fight for my life at Home Depot, trying to get through the checkout line with a 12-foot piece of plywood. And, I got it. And I got like a giant, literally 12-foot pieces of trim board. And this snot-nosed kid is standing there, not even helping me, and that stupid gun isn't working. You think I'm thinking about the Patriots? I don't even want to talk about the Patriots. I got to see Tom Brady and that stupid Tampa Bay Pirate. What
do you think about that? I'm done. What do you think about that, man? I mean, I'm just happy that he's not in the AFC East anymore. Thank God.
Well, I mean, it's going to be, I grew up in New England, obviously. I grew up in Rhode Island. I got a lot of family up here. It's going to be harder for me because Giselle and I have been having an affair for years, and it's only been like an hour away. Now I'm going to have to fly down. She's going to have to fly up.
It's all the logistics.
No, I think it's stupid. Like for people to go, well, he's past his brain is so valuable on that field. He's seen it all. His arm is fine. He misses like 2 throws every 10 throws, and so it's like, it's it. It's over. God,
is Brady past his prime?
Yeah, he's only half. He's lived half his life. I think it was stupid. Oh yeah, we have Jared Stedham. We're gonna be fine. What? Stedham is what you get when you have like a little nodule in your throat. That's a Stedham. You go to the doctor. You go, I gotta. Oh yeah, that's a Stedham. You want to just lie down during the entire NFL season and not do anything. That's what you do to get rid of a Stedham.
So
I don't know.
I know, man. I'm so ready for sports to come back, dude. I think we're all craving it so much, just to have a little sense of like normalcy, because I know everybody's just staying home all the time. You're quarantined. You don't have any. You're watching old games on TV.
Oh, I know. I was watching the Celtics and the Atlanta Hawks 1986. Like, I actually made a cutoff for myself. Like, if it's 1940 or earlier, I won't watch it. But anything like
40 is where you draw the line.
Yeah, draw the line.
Yeah.
We were talking about being home all the time. So, like, how has it been for you? Like, you just going crazy? Like,
yeah, I've been trying to. What my girl and I have been doing is we go for drives. Like, the beach has been closed. It's recently been opened, but like, we've been going for drives like down the beach. We go and get or we make some coffee, and we're like, we got to get the hell out of the house. So we drive along A1A. We just kind of go up and down like a couple times. and we try and get our head right a little bit, and we go back home and watch Netflix. But
It's
so
crazy.
how's it going with you and the fam? Is
Shut
everybody
up,
staying
don't
home? Are they
ask.
out partying? What are they
What,
all
in
up
New
to?
York?
Yeah, or what's the fam up to? How are you guys holding up?
First of all, we were talking about dogs. I have a dog. Do you have a dog?
I don't. I have had one, but I don't know.
Yeah. So we talk about the dogs having before we came on air. Sixth sense, whatever. I think the dog is in now stage 3 of 3 stages. Like at first, it's like, whoa, dude, you're home like all the time. That's weird. And then it's like second stage, this is so fun. I see you every day. And the third stage is, you are so annoying. Could you please
Get
go?
the hell out of
Just
here.
go. Like my whole family, like they heard I'm coming to the Improv next week. And I thought it was gonna be like, we've been so bonding. They're like, shouldn't you be going now? And why are you still here? Shouldn't you be? I am annoying though. Like I got in a fight with my wife a couple of days ago because she was making eggs, right? And I cook too. It's not like a guy thing, whatever. But she said, you want, yeah. So she made me and my son eggs. So she makes the egg, right? Okay, the fried egg. And then she puts the toast in the toaster. You get the toast out. It's nice and warm and buttery. But what did she do? She put both pieces of bread in at the same time. You cannot toast both pieces of bread, because by the time you get to that second, don't shake your head. Don't take her side. By the time you get to that second piece of toast, it's like a giant crouton. It's cold. It's hard. So the deal is, I'm eating the egg. When I give a hand signal, like the manager going to the bullpen, I'm serious. If she were here, she'd tell you, that's the signal. Put the second piece of toast in. It comes with the second egg. That's, I think, why they want me to go.
At first, you are a lawyer. You kind of talked me into it a little bit. It makes a little sense. Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, we talked about that last time. One of my favorites, Greg Giraldo, you and him have something in common, a kinship. You both were lawyers before you became comedians, and you being a Wall Street guy, as a matter of fact. So I wanted to get your perspective on this kind of hypothesis that I have during this pandemic, which is, we live in a very litigious society. So a big reason why the government and all these corporations are taking such a hard line on this coronavirus is, yes, they want to keep people safe, but they also don't want to get sued. What are your thoughts on that?
Totally. I don't think
that's it, right?
I'm supposed to get on the airline to fly. First of all, they're going to our cleaning crew will be clean. Have you ever seen a cleaning crew on an airline?
I know. It's like some guy with a squirt bottle and a squeegee who just kind of makes one pass. Doesn't touch
they
much.
all have the same name tag. It says indifferent. That's and that's all about, I get on, I get sick, I see them. I think all of these corporate, I work on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert and CBS, they want everybody to be safe and whatever, and I get it, but there's definite exposure, and that's the first. But I mean, I was a Boy Scout growing up, right? So you see, I'm like everybody at home. I'm probably watching more TV than I normally would, especially during the day. It's on. I mean, it used to be no lawyers advertised. Then it was personal injury. Then it's mesothelioma. Now it's Boy Scouts, right? Then and then priests, right? If you've been molested, it's like, does your dog have a limp? Well, it might have to do with the pavement that it's walking on. Let's sue the city. So, I mean, I think that's first and foremost in a lot of, major corporations in the government. I think that's first and foremost. And, it'd be interesting to see some of that early testing that they developed that was flawed. I mean, I could see somebody saying, look, my father, my uncle, my aunt died as a result. The tests were flawed, and, go after a big pharmaceutical, I mean, I think it's anything's possible. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Well, everybody seems to be going out with this really interesting energy. Like when you do see people out, and for instance, my parents, I went by and saw them yesterday, and I saw their HOA people, which are just nightmares personified. And they're walking around towing people who were parked in a guest spot for too long and all this crap. It's just like they've got all these weird rules now. Is it like that at your spot at all?
Well, I mean, in the city, we live in a
Like in your building?
apartment building. We live on the 9th floor, so we're in the elevator. So we personally, the family said, don't get on the elevator if somebody's on the elevator. And now the building has like a sign in the lobby, only one person or family on the elevator at a time, especially Paul Mecurio, which I thought was like a little weird that they would put that at the bottom. That was a little bit of like a,
Squeeze some lemon in that.
Right, exactly. But, it's funny because I said to my wife, I go, I'm going to miss this social distancing because I don't like people anyway. Like, I just am at the point, like this was like a godsend to me that I don't have to interact with people. Like,
oh, the built-in excuse to just say, well, we can't get together. Cause it's just,
oh my God, I'd love to, but the COVID, I got a Stedham, I can't come near you.
Yes.
And then, it's funny because like I was thinking the other day, like, if you poison me, right, and we're in the lobby of my building and I had to get to the 9th floor to get the antidote and I'm about to get on the elevator and then somebody steps on and I got to make chit chat on the elevator, 9 floors to save my life, I just get out and die in the lobby. I can't do it. I can't
How you holding up?
Yeah. How's everything? Oh, I ran a marathon and I achieved my dream. Like, you can't do it.
I know.
And then like, have you been finding you look forward to things that you normally wouldn't look forward to? Like I've been working around the house a lot because I was selling me at Home Depot and I needed certain screws that I could only get on Amazon. And I've been tracking a package of screws on Amazon for like 4 days. Like, are they here yet? Are they here yet? Like,
it's like a game. You get to and I know I'm always excited for food, but now like that is my main thing. I know that 3 times a day I've got built-in happiness, or I'm just like, okay. And I'm already like Italian, Irish, mostly Irish, but like I grew up with a lot of Italian family around, so it's all manja.
God,
and then the Irish part of my family, drink. We all love to curse and eat and everything. So everything's planned around meals. So I found that that's kind of something that gives me a little hope. I don't know, but it puts up, the quarantine LBs are a real thing though, man. I'm telling you.
You put some on, yeah?
Yeah.
It's so funny because this morning I literally woke up. First of all, we watched a movie last night at home, had a big ass sundae made myself. And then this morning I literally woke up thinking, you know what? I think I'm going to have dessert in the middle of the day today. Like, and then I started to go through, what am I going to have? Chocolate chip, Oreos. So just before this, I had like some Oreos and milk, like a 6-year-old who just came home from school. I mean, it's, I don't know. The whole thing is just so, and then like, have you seen people are going on cruises again now? They're starting to go on cruises.
These people, what are they think? I was thinking about that because we're in Fort Lauderdale. You know, they come in on these cruise ships and they have to sit out there in the port and quarantine for weeks. I'm sitting there thinking, if I was stuck in a little cabin with no windows, quarantined, it's say, you don't have anything to do if you like to cut loose or drink, you don't have anything to drink. They're out of alcohol and things to distract you. I'd lose my damn mind sitting in those freaking cruises.
Look, if you were into it, fine. But you're going to tell me, here's the scenario. It's $600 to basically for a week live in a broom closet, right? And eat Golden Corral quality buffet. Like, really?
Like on a floating petri dish.
Exactly. Like it's like, a pig pen and Charlie Brown with that's what all you see is this like glowing thing around the ship. There's only one reason to go on a cruise ship, and that's to kill your husband. That's the only reason, It's like that's all those are. It's like, they went on deck and it was at night and he fell over. Like that's all this is.
If you want to kill your husband, go on a cruise ship or own a zoo in Florida.
Right, exactly.
What are your thoughts? What are you watching during quarantine? What are your thoughts on all that? And I mean, I've been asking everybody about it just because it is kind of the gift that keeps on giving. She keeps on coming. She just got Joe Exotic's zoo awarded to her like last week, and it's just like
I know.
She's all over the place.
I mean, this is the thing about something like this is stars are going to come out of this that like, just that's our society. Like someone is going to figure out, and then they're going to get like an Emmy award, and they're going to be standing there like, I want to thank China and the wet markets for the COVID-19, because if it weren't for that, I wouldn't be here tonight.
I was talking to Ron McGill yesterday. He's from Zoo Miami down here. He's a conservationist, kind of like our own Steve Irwin down here. He's a great guy. And he was saying
I know. Is he really tall?
6'7".
I met him. He came to. He's
on Ron. Did you?
Yeah.
See? Yeah.
I've been on that, and then they came. I was just a few months ago. I was at the Improv at the Hard Rock. They opened up the new one.
Yep.
And he came with Paul and some people to see me.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Tall.
Super.
Crazy.
Yeah. Super
like
nice.
Annoying. Like I'm 5'8". Like give me some of that tall, man.
Yeah, I know.
What are you hogging the tall for?
I know. He is an impressively tall man, and he rocks that stash like it's nobody's business. And anyway, he was saying yesterday about how TV can give people like a undue amount of credit, like undeserved amount of credit sometimes. Of course, not all the time, but these people who are on all these reality shows that just happen to have far more eyes on them right now because of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like, we've already had enough of these Jersey Shore type Real Housewives become famous, and now it's kind of hit a whole other level. It's kind of crazy.
It's going to be like Big Brother, Big Brother House COVID edition, and there's going to be 3 episodes where people are hiding antibody tests from each other, and people are trying to figure out, like, the whole thing is just, I've been, we've been watching like a lot of movies. We've been doing some Hitchcock movies. There's some Hitchcock movies I hadn't seen. We saw Frenzy the other night.
Ooh, Rear Window.
What's that?
Rear Window is a great one if you haven't seen that. Rear Window.
Oh yeah, that's great. That to me, if you think about that whole thing takes place in a friggin' living room, and he pulls it off like with no, Meanwhile, I'll watch Transformers and I'm bored 10 minutes in. Oh, another explosion. The
Decepticons.
You're right. Oh wait, 2 minutes of dialogue. Okay, back to the explosions, everybody. Let's go. Right.
It's like Mark Wahlberg. All right, everybody, let's go. Right? Huh?
Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on.
Really quick, I wanted to ask you about, because I'm a big fan of the way that you do your shows, like Permission to Speak. It's been on Broadway. Are you going to have any of that kind of, if anything, can you tell people about that style? Are you bringing any of that to your shows this weekend where you interact with the crowds? Just tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I normally, that's a really great question, because I've been thinking about, this is my first shows since March. Like this all came down, like really hit hard the middle of March, right? And I was in Omaha at the Funny Bone that weekend, and I remember that it was usually the gigs are like Thursday to Saturday. So I remember coming back from doing local press and calling my wife and going, this is when they had just like all the pro leagues said we're shutting down. Like that was that week where everything just went like everything's shutting down, and I'm like, they're not going to have shows this weekend. And a lot of people came out. It was crazy. And then, like, I remember coming back. So now, like, nobody's flying, right? So there's, like, literally, I'm in the gate area, and there's 6 people in the gate. And I had never seen, they have the procedure of, like, boarding you, like, and then they start to make the announcements, like, anybody needing some extra time? Well, I'd never seen those announcements go so fast. It was like, anybody needing extra time? Anybody with children? Anybody's military? Anybody at all? Everybody on. Hey, you, the guy at Starbucks, come here. We need another person for ballast. Come on. Like, it was literally, there were 7 of us on the plane. Each of us flew the plane for 15 minutes. They were like, what the hell? It can't get any worse than this.
Next.
So I like to talk to the audience. It's always like, I don't know, when I do TV, stand up on TV, obviously you got to go out and launch right into jokes, but live shows, they're there. It just feels more organic. And it's not like I'm doing crowd work for the sake of doing crowd work, or I'm talking to somebody about their hats because then I just magically happen to have a joke about a hat. Like that's an artifice. I'm just interested in talking to people because I think
I've
everybody
noticed that
has a story, and then I'll sometimes even bring people on stage. So I am going to be doing that. I don't know if with the COVID thing, if I'll bring somebody on stage. I think what I'm looking into it, I'm going to get myself laminated for the weekend so that I can just a little, either that or I'm going to sign my entire show.
I think that you'll be surprised that people down here, they're ready to go, man. They want to laugh. They want to get out, and people are being safe. But at the same time, they've come out with all this stuff lately about how, it's not clinging onto surfaces the way that they once thought. It's not being spread in the air as much as they thought.
Yeah.
And, not to say that it's like full go, but I really do respect both sides of it, where it's like, yes, you want to be safe, and anybody who is susceptible or worried about it should stay home and have every right to do that.
Right.
But anybody who feels like they are willing to take the risk and go out, which, we're seeing, I mean, the mortality rate is like 1% or something. We're getting more cases because we're testing more people. So some people are a little worried about that. And the media kind of likes to play with that and play on fear and all of that. So it's not to say, oh, yes, everything is fine. But I really do think that people are kind of turning a corner now where within the realm of trying to be responsible, they're ready to get out there. They need a little, especially with friends and family, like you need a hug every once in a while, man. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, you're trying to tell people not even a handshake. Come on,
I mean, I stopped, I don't know about you, but I really cut way down on watching the news because it just got so redundant. And so I'm watching a lot. They have this network called Grit TV. It's all like old Westerns. So nice. I'm watching like all these old
Outlaw
Westerns.
Josie Wales.
Yeah, all that, right? And it's so like, it's such a black and white like era, right? Where it's like the bad guy and the good guy. It's like there's no, hey, what did he mean by that? And are you gay? I don't know. Like it was just like, you're the bad guy. But
hey there, Pilgrim.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you just watch him and you go, God, he's such a bad actor, but he still pulls it off. Somehow it's like he is the leading man, right? Like, so I'm going to just do what I normally do. And I was doing it as a one-man show, and the one-man show was born out of, it was called Permission to Speak, as you mentioned. And it's basically, and there's clips of it on my website and my social media pages, but this premise of the show is if we talk, we connect. And if we connect, maybe things aren't so divisive. And now coming out, and I had to stop doing it, obviously, and I want to bring it back because we especially, I think, need it now. And just people coming on stage, and I talk to them and they tell stories from their lives. And it sounds like, what? Is that a show? And the shows have been incredible because the stories are amazing, because literally every night there's at least one story where you go, if you and I were in a writer's room on a show, comedy show or otherwise, and we wrote that as a sketch, we'd throw it away because nobody would believe it. Like, and I go, when did you come out of the closet? He was gay. He goes, I was like, I don't know, 16, 17. And I go, how was it? His mom was on stage, and I go, how was it telling your mom? She goes, well, they both started laughing. And so then I knew there was a story, right? He goes, well, it was weird. I go, why? He goes, I told her I was gay. And she goes, why are you telling me this at 10:30 at night? I have to go to bed. There's another guy.
Classic.
Another guy, right? Comes on stage, middle-aged guy, lives in Brooklyn. He's standing, he goes, you want a story? I got a story, right? I go, yeah. He goes, my wife's having an affair with a clergyman in Liechtenstein. And I'm like,
that sentence.
And I have one rule in this show, which is don't try to be funny, because it doesn't work, because it's really about the story, and then the funny finds itself. If you try to be funny, you're going to squash the story. You're going to start making fun of the person. He goes, nah, I'm not trying to be funny. My wife is screwing a guy in Liechtenstein. He's a clergyman. Apparently what happened was this guy's wife, her mother died for the funeral, and the clergyman is doing the service. The wife has to stay behind to take care of the affairs of the state and all of the state. And the clergyman starts to break up an affair. They both have kids. And the guy goes, yeah, so here's this fat septic tank, because that's what he's calling the clergyman, right? He's hitting on my wife. He goes, and get this. He goes, now I'm like, this guy's a fat, big septic tank, and my wife likes to work out and hike. So he starts hiking with her to get in her pants, and he starts losing weight. So now he's banging my wife, and he looks good, all because of me, right? I spent, the show is a little under an hour and a half. I spent 40 minutes just with him. It was amazing, because then there was a whole other thing of he's still living with his wife upstairs in the house, and wife's like, so
I really got to commend you for that, man. That's such a good idea and a great way to get people involved and feel seen. And not just like, you know, there's a lot of people like hecklers. They love to go to comedy shows and try and take over and make it all about them. And when we talked last time, I know, like you said, you like to talk to people who are a little, even people who have like a malleability, like some sort of issue, like a disability or something.
Yeah.
Talk to them, make them, you know, make people feel seen. And I think that that's kind of oddly a really beautiful thing that you're doing. And also opening up the other people's eyes in the crowd to maybe they saw that person walk up on stage and they have their own thoughts about them. And then after talking to them, or you talking to them and seeing, wow, they really got all these layers in this person. It's really kind of awesome what you're doing.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, and that was, I'm not one of these guys that like, oh, I'm going to change the world with my show. Like, I just found that, like, because some producers saw me doing this one night and they go, were those people plants? Not doing the one man, this led to the one man show. I go, no. They go, well, how did all the conversations like work out? I go, I don't know. I just talk to people. I ask them questions. I don't make fun of them. I listen and I respond, and I don't get ahead of myself. And you know, you're a good interview. If you start thinking about the next thing you're going to ask and I say something, whatever, and you miss it, right? Mm-hmm. And then you just trust the people. And you're right. And it's funny because every once in a while there's somebody like, no, I'm not sure I want to come up. And then they come up and you cannot get them to stop talking. Like they need it, you know? And then there is what happens, like, one of the more beautiful things about it for me anyway is after the show, seeing the audiences not immediately leave, but they'll go over, they don't know each other, and they'll come over and you're like, oh, Brian, that story about, yeah, I got a sister. And
how cool
I've had people who didn't see each other for 20 years. So they're making the connection that I hope they would make. I had a person, and I was a pussy, and I called myself out on it one night because I'm looking through the audience and it's not planned. I don't pre-screen. I just go out. I do an opening monologue explaining what the show is, and then we launch in. So I'm looking at somebody, and I'm like, I'm not going to pick this person. And then I said, you're being a pussy. And I go, come on up. And I go, are you a man or a woman? She goes, both. I go, I knew it. And I didn't pick an issue. And I said to the audience, I go, look, if I'm asking you to be honest, I got to be honest. I thought about picking this person, but didn't, because I wasn't sure if it was a man, if she was a woman, and I didn't want to offend. And then I realized I was being a pussy and I need to just go for it. And it turned out her name was amazing, really, really great. Transitioning from being a woman to a man. Her dad was with her, 21, 22 years old. And just a riveting conversation about, but also she was funny, right? Like, I said, oh, do you remember what it was like telling your dad, your mom, that, you were, you felt like you were this other gender? And she goes, no. And she starts laughing. I go, why? She goes, well, I'm bipolar and I've had 3 electroshock treatments, so I don't remember some things. And then I went, oh man, now I'm like, right? And then I went, oh, I wish I could have that, because I don't like to remember some things either. She goes, well, get a doctor. I can give you my doctor's name. She came right back. Really funny.
Love it.
And it was important because, and I don't even want to use that word. It sounds like I'm blowing myself up. I think it was a good conversation for people to see and hear, because, there are people that sort of think about some of those people like, oh, they're freaks and they're whatever, right? And then you realize we're all living in this gray area, which is part of the premise. And we're all kind of screwed up a little bit. We all have issues, and we're all trying to figure it out as we go. And this wonderful person is just somebody that was born one way and feels another way. And she was a star of the night. People went up, they gave her a hug, and like, she didn't know anybody.
That's cool.
And,
so I would imagine that's got to make you feel like extremely gratified and
validating
in a way that, like, you're doing something very cool.
Yeah, I mean, the stand-up is nice, especially now. Hopefully they'll have a release and whatever. But this is another level of like, the stand-up is about to get into the joke. This is more about the humanity of the situation and the person. And then, so it's like Frank Oz, who the voice of Yoda, created the Muppets with Jim Henson and directed all those great movies.
Legend.
And he's been sort of, he's developed the show with me, and we have this rule of 80-20, which is 80% just focus on the story, 20% worry about the funny. The funny will find itself, and it always does.
Wow, that's impressive of Frank Oz, man. That's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, we met through my podcast. I had him on my podcast. We really hit it off because I'm a process geek, and he really, I think, appreciated that I was asking him about, like, how did you come up with the Muppets? And he goes, it's not just a guy with his finger up, a butt. It's like, it's a puppeteer sort of imbues that character with some of his own personality traits. He goes, like, I was very insecure for a long time. And so that's why Miss Piggy is insecure, because he created Miss Piggy. And so she overcompensates by being, bellicose and whatever. So really like fascinating stuff
cool.
which is, you're a great interviewer. And so, like, that's one of the great things about having to do these shows is you can kind of ask questions and learn stuff you never thought of. And so we hit it off. And then when I was starting to develop the one-man show, I'm like, I can't really direct myself. I need another creative voice outside of me. And so I called him up and said, would you? He goes, yeah. And then totally just rolled up his sleeves and it's been incredible. Like a godsend.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
incredible.
To work with him has been as like, I have awards and stuff like that, which is nice, but like, you're as good as the company you keep a little bit. Like when somebody at that caliber wants to work with you. And then it's funny because it hit me one week and he goes, listen, I'm sorry, I can't be around. I'm flying to see Steve and Steve Martin and who's the guy that did from Saturday Night Live, Martin Short.
Okay.
He's tight with them, and I think helped a little bit with their show. And then you realize, oh, this is who I'm working. He's going to fly. So yeah, so it's been a nice outlet. So there's gonna be a little bit of my one-man show as part of the stand-up at the Improv. So
all right, cool. So you said that you had him on your podcast. I know that people can listen to your podcast. It's the Paul Mecurio Show.
Yeah,
I listen to it on Apple Podcasts, but I'm sure it's available wherever.
Yeah, Google Play, and we workshopped the title for like 6 months, and we focus grouped it, and that's what we came up with. Yeah, it's one-on-one interviews, long form. I've had Paul McCartney and Colbert, Bryan Cranston, and had the woman that survived the Ted Bundy attack. Pretty amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, that's cool. So yeah, people got to go check that out. You also have your website, paulmecurio.com, and you can see his dates there. He's got some dates coming up, Washington, D.C. and Connecticut later in the year. I'm sure as things start opening up a little bit.
Yeah, things have gotten moved. So other stuff's going to be popping up because literally a lot of clubs are still closed. Some are partially open. So we're starting to layer in new dates now as things are kind of opening up. But yeah, and I got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Paul Mecurio, where I've been making stupid videos. So you can go there. And
yeah, they're funny, man. I enjoy them. Thanks. Keep putting them up. And Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's all at Paul Mecurio. Yeah.
One R in my last name, everybody. Mecurio, not two, because there's that Australian actor and he's like doing he was in Strictly Ballroom, and he's doing a reality beer making show, or was. So every once in a while, like on Twitter, I'd get a beer recipe from somebody thinking that I was that guy.
That's, I've got there's a Brian Wright who's a musician. Right. And so every once in a while I get hit up with people thinking that I'm like, I play guitar and stuff, but I'm not like a professional like him. All right. I got a couple other things I want to, we got a couple mental reps, little games. They're short. I'll play with you. But first off, okay, so we got everything covered as far as, because I really want people to go and support you and check you out, man. You're a really funny guy, really good person as well from everything that I've been able to see. And I know a couple of people who know you and have told me what a good guy that you are. So I really want people to go out and support you. But okay, so we do something. Yeah, we do something like I like the show to stay positive, you know, and we like to try and keep the vibe up. But especially in the times that we're going through right now, it's really unhealthy to keep everything bottled in and get that angst up. So you don't want to pretend like everything's all right, only to explode. Like you said, you don't want to explode on your dog for eating at the wrong time, finding that the remote's in the wrong place or something. Just anything to set you off. So I want to give you a healthy platform, like to express what's pissing you off today. It's a little segment that I like to call Hater Hall of Fame.
I hate you guys.
I hate you. I don't even know you.
You're tacky and I hate you.
What's pissing you off today, Paul?
I feel like the COVID thing has made like customer service people even more obnoxious. Like help, like the help, like that. Like okay, so I'm doing some work around the house, right? I'm so glad you asked me this. This is literally happening, right? And I got my mask on, my Patriots mask, and I go to True Value. And I need some wood, and I'm getting trim wood. So it's got to be not dented because it's going to go around the door, right? And it's pine and it's soft, right? So this kid out back, I don't know, 2022. And listen, I don't want to hear like, oh, these jobs don't pay a lot. It's not a scale of like how much you get paid is how much. If you don't like your friggin' job, go like get the education you need to get a better job. I don't come from money. I don't want to hear that excuse. You have a job, especially when you're dealing with people, you need to act a certain way. Okay. And I'm not one of these like high
especially
demand
if you
guys,
want
right?
to move up in the world, like people above you aren't going to take you. If you can't even do that menial task, right? How are you going to go? Sorry, go ahead. I'm just like right there with you, dude.
No. I'm not making, and my father's blue collar. I'm not, there's none of that. It's not a class thing. It's just, okay. That, and I'm dropping my freaking cable system because the guy, Lawrence, and it's 6. This is the employee number of a guy for the cable company. You ready? I'm not kidding you. It's ready. 6. Hold on. It's right here. Look, it's right here on my list of things to do. You see that name, Lawrence? That guy is cancer. He's a cancer. And it's 6. And I go, I want your employee number. He goes, the number 6, left side of a parenthetical, and the number 8. And I'm like, there's no way that's a number. What is the left side of a parenthetical? All right. So that guy's dead to me. I'm dropping them because the cable company, they suck because they go, we have this thing where like my cable box decides to mute itself because I guess it's sick of hearing itself. So it just automatically mutes itself. There's that. And then the internet was out and I'm paying $218 a month. And I called and I said, look, and I've never done this. I want a month for May. I want a credit because it's been a joke. Nothing's working in the package. I went through 4 people. The most they'll give me is $60. And then the guy, Lawrence, 6, half a parenthetical 8, goes, and that's generous. If it were me, I would have given you less. I go, well, I'm dropping your company. So, okay, so that happened. So then I go to the thing and I go around the back of True Value to get the wood, right? And I'm looking at the wood and some of the wood is like got significant dents. Like I can't use it because it's not going to be hidden. So I go, I need to replace, and this is common practice. Anybody that's worked with wood, you do this. If it's, if it's a 2x4 to put behind the wall, it doesn't matter. And so I give him, and then he brings another one out and 2 more, and that's not right. And he goes, well, why don't you go? Why don't you tell me what you want? And I go, what? He goes, just tell me what you want like that. I go, and I have my mask on. I go, what I want is, I want wood in my house so that when people come in, they don't look at it and go, why are there chunks of wood missing from your house? That's what I want. I said, and I want you to go find it because that's your job. And if you don't like your job, and now as I'm doing this, I'm like, oh man, I got to come back here and I'm going to get labeled as the asshole, right? But then I realized I have the
dickhead with the Patriots mask on.
So the mask allows me to say everything. I'm like a dysfunctional Lone Ranger. Like that's what I am. Like it allows me to just vent and not have any ramifications. But that's who I hate. That and the guy Lawrence at the Xfinity. 6, half a parenthetical 8. I hope you're watching, Lawrence. I love
it. That was a great answer. I love it. Dude, I'm so with you. Right.
All true, sadly.
I believe it, man. Those cable companies are fucking nightmares. It's like
Ugh.
built into their business that they
Yeah.
have to be cunts.
I
Anyway,
go 15. I've been doing your business 15 years. I said, you're gonna plant the sword in the ground over $140. I go, you want to lose my business over $140 after I've been giving you thousands of dollars? Guy couldn't care less.
I couldn't care less. It's incredible. All right, dude. This is time for rapid fire. I know that, and then we got quote of the week, and I'll let you out of here. I really appreciate your time, buddy. I know.
Yeah, man, this is fun. It's always great with you, man. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, dude. It's always easy with you too, man. It's always a pleasure to talk. All right, real quick. If you could meet anyone, current or historical, and spend the day picking their brain, who would it be?
Ulysses S. Grant. I don't know if you've been watching
answer.
this on the History Channel. There's a thing called Grant. It's a 3-episode series.
No.
Watch it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah. And on C-SPAN last night, I know, C-SPAN, they had a person that's collated Grant's memoirs and was talking about Grant and how he had to write his memoirs when he had cancer, he was about to die. And it's funny because you probably have friends that like you get in a text chain with you back and forth, and just randomly one of my buddies, close friends in that chain goes, we're watching Grant, and I was watching at the same time. Was given demerits at West Point, almost thrown out of West Point, was a bit of a drunkard, whatever, and Robert E. Lee was considered like the erudite, sophisticated, general. And Grant just went in, and what they were saying last night is a lot of times what would happen with the Union Army is they get into Virginia, they get beaten back by Lee, and they'd return to Washington. He goes, Grant didn't do that. He just kept going forward. So he would be, plus my kind of guy.
Yeah, you like to tip back a few?
Yeah,
I like it. Well, yeah, back then, man, there wasn't a whole lot of access to great water, so they were drinking a lot of beer and wine and getting high.
And he's 5'6", so I could dunk on him.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't either. He was 5'6", and he had a meeting. He was at a party with Lincoln, and Lincoln wanted to show him off, so Lincoln had him stand on a couch so people could see him.
That's hilarious. I love it. That's great.
Yeah,
all right,
it. Really good.
I'll check that out. If you had one round trip ticket in a time machine, when and where would you go?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I would go to the day that guy Lawrence from the cable company was born. Yeah, and I'd do something. I can't tell you what I'd do, but I'd do something.
Forget Hitler. Forget Stalin.
No.
Lawrence from the cable company.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, here's the other thing he said to me. He goes, look, I know you want to get off this call. Nobody wants to be off this call more than I do. Who says that to a customer? You don't say that.
What a fucking prick. Oh, God. Okay. What's your spirit animal?
Like what? Like my spirit? What I think I am?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great question. I think I'm a hyena.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm annoying. I'm like always around. Like there's like a like that, or a big fat bee that just kind of doesn't. I'm a pussy. I don't really hurt you, but I'm like annoying. I'm like a hyena with no teeth. Like I'm an old hyena that lost its teeth and has sciatica, so I can't really attack. I don't know.
That's fucking hilarious. That's one of the best answers I've ever gotten. That's awesome.
Thanks.
In a world without comedians or actors, what's your dream job?
Job, I'd say something where I'm in a no judgment situation and I'm only doing good. So working with displaced animals or displaced people.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, because there's some days where like everything gets so complicated, egos get in the way, with money, and this and that, and there's a purity to just I'm going to get up and I'm going to go. I'll make a little bit of money to support myself, and I'm going to help somebody, and like that, or a night security guy at like a cotton factory. nobody's going to break into a cotton factory. Like they make the balls of cotton and I don't have to talk to anybody. I could probably go 8 years and never, how's it going, Joe? Like that would be it once.
Yeah,
So,
dude, I feel you on that, man. There's something really to, it's like, I always get on myself about like wasted potential, and I try and give myself a little out sometimes, because there is something to keeping things a little more simplistic. I think there is definitely something.
yeah. And I do, I mean, you know, if I'm fortunate enough at some point to not have to work as hard as I'm working or whatever, I decide I don't want to work so hard, I could definitely see myself like kind of, I want to do something like I was in Michigan and I did actually a benefit for this like furniture bank that helps destitute people. And it was nice because I just felt like I was doing something not just to make money, you know, and maybe, you know, helping people a little bit. So I think that's something like that.
That's cool, man. I love that
Yeah.
answer. All right. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from working in comedy or acting or writing, which you've applied to your everyday life?
That you can't rely on anybody except yourself. And I don't mean that in a negative way, although it sounds it. It's just like,
I know what you mean.
you know,
I
you
know
can't,
exactly what you mean.
you just, even just in your personal life, and I tell my son that, I said sometimes I'll say to Alex, if you try 10% harder than everybody else, you'll rule the world. So it's either indifference or they're busy with their own stuff or whatever. And I mean people that are technically supposed to be doing things for me or with me, that you can't make the presumption that anybody's going to care more than you are. So you have to be able to delegate, and rely on other people and trust other people, but only to a certain extent. And
awesome answer.
Yeah.
I like that. What's some wisdom you can share with anyone listening who's trying to pursue their dreams, working in comedy, acting, writing, or just in general?
Your dreams will never come true. You're a failure and you'll always be a failure. Just leave it at that. And go back to stock and wood at True Value or working at the cable company.
Oh, dude, that's fucking hilarious.
I think that you have to decide that you want it, that you have to do it, because you're going to get punched in the gut, in the face, and in the nuts so many times because it's going to test you. I think that I believe in you get what you pay for, that things are commensurate in life. So something great doesn't come without a lot of, you know, and it's probably cliche, but to say with a great sacrifice, right? So, you know, I was working on Wall Street, was lawyer, investment banker. I was working really, really hard. And then I completely tore my life apart to go into stand-up. And in the beginning, and even to this day, there are some days where you're just like banging your head against the wall. And it's like, you know, how badly do you want it? And whatever your motivations are, it might be to just be creative. It might be because you want stardom, whatever. It's all, I'm not going to judge any of that, but like, you have to do it, not just want to do it. If it's something that where you're gonna change your life or not take a path of more security, I think that that's a big thing, because it's a fight. You know, it can be a real fight.
Oh, wow, very good. All right, tell me about somebody who changed your life for the better.
John McGrath. He was the career counselor at my college, and I was going through a midlife crisis, like in my late 20s, when I'm like, oh well, I'm doing this Wall Street thing, but I'm sending jokes into Leno for the Tonight Show, and do I want to do comedy? And I'm trying to do it myself, and oh my God, I'm this middle class kid from Rhode Island. Am I really going to walk away from Wall Street and pursue my passion, my dream? And I was a mess, because I'd never been unsure of my path before that. And so when you don't know what your destiny is or what your calling is, it's really scary, I think, you know? And once you start to figure that out, you settle back in. And I thought I had it all figured out. Like I kind of, you know, intentionally ended up where I ended up. I'm going to go to college, I'm going to go to law school, and then study and whatever. I'm going to leave, and I'm going to these dive bars in downtown Beirut too, and names like that, and then whatever, and all this crazy stuff. And I went to John, and I started to talk to him, and he was very calming, but he didn't tell me what to do, but he didn't talk me out of it. He was very, had a very deft touch to how he handled it. Like he would let me figure it out. But he was always, I could tell, especially in retrospect, pushing me in the direction of go for it. That he felt there was more value to society, to me, doing comedy than what I was doing. Not that there's anything wrong with what I was doing. And then I was really freaking out one time, and he said to me, he goes, look, you have to understand, because at this point I left, and I was like, oh my God, I made a huge mistake. I got to go back. I got to go back before I can't get the money again, and blah, blah, blah. I got to go back. I unraveled my life. I moved to a rooming house. I got audited. I was getting audited by the IRS. I was just a mess. And I was freaking out that I made the wrong decision. And he goes, well, listen, he goes, you have to understand, you are swimming in the ocean and you're at the point in the horizon where you can't see the shore you left and you can't see the shore you're going to, but know that if you keep going in that direction, you'll get to another shore. And that really helped me, because my parents, they're high school educated. They weren't equipped to be able to give me advice on this kind of stuff. Nobody in my personal life was, but he was a broad thinker. And so he was pretty incredible. He was great.
Cool, man. I like that. And I encourage anybody, I have an old interview with you up where we get a lot into how you got started in comedy with Jay Leno, selling him your jokes, and just a really cool story. I didn't want to cover all the same things, but I really encourage anybody to go and check out that interview. Paul, you're such a pleasure to talk to, man. I just got the quote of the week, and I'll let you go, okay? I figured that you might like this, especially with your background. Never argue. It's from Mark Twain. Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Love it.
Isn't that great?
Experience is perfect.
Isn't that awesome?
Great.
You got any favorite quotes you want to
share? No spitting. Just that's
great. Great. I love it. Hey, man, again, everybody go and check out Paul. He's going to be at West Palm Beach Improv June 18th through 20th this weekend. Go check him out, paulmecurio.com, at Paul Mecurio on all the social medias. And really, really good dude here, man. I hope everybody goes out and supports him. And I'll be seeing you in West Palm. I'm going to come up there. And, even with the quarantine and the social distancing, maybe I'll be able to squeeze a little fist pound in and say hi to you, and we could talk for a few minutes.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'll give you a big lick on your face. Big COVID lick. Hey, man, this is always great. You're so good at this. And
oh, thanks, man.
We're really glad to be on again anytime, man. And hopefully I'll see you, and hopefully I'll see everybody out there. And you can go to palmbeachimprov.com for tickets. But I'm psyched to get out of the house, and my family couldn't be happier.
You're in the Mental Reps family now. Thank you for coming on, Paul. You're welcome anytime, man.
Thanks, brother.
Take care of yourself. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you next weekend.
All right.
I'll
Sounds good,
for you. Take care, buddy.
A lot of fun. Appreciate it.